Okay, you might be a quick Saunders.
Gregory.
Eagle looking great, you're go.
And we're rolling, Gregory.
Greg Saunders!
Wow! Hey, great!
Show us the skills that have made you a media darling.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome, 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 welcome to the Saturday Morning Stateline Show.
Oh, hey, I think we're on now. You know, both concrete and glass are mostly made of sand, which basically makes skyscrapers really, really tall sand castles.
Okay.
I'm Greg. He's Tom. It's your Saturday Morning Stateline Show for the first day of April, the year 2023, the latest it has ever been.
And don't forget Barney. Barney's joining us today.
Good morning, Barney. Oh my goodness. It's a Saturday again, and it's been quite a week. How you doing?
It is, and it's my son's birthday today. So happy 31st birthday, Matthew.
Happy birthday, Matthew.
Son.
Happy birthday, Matthew.
Yep.
We are live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, a bunch of different pages, and our special guest today is with a company that supports Focus House out of Rochelle. Focus House has an interesting service, mainly to the county, Ogle County. It's a different kind of not-for-profit in that it's run by the county, so it's a government agency, but it's a not-for-profit. I don't know. We may have to get some clarity on definitions on exactly how Focus House works.
Who cares anyway, as long as they're helping people, right?
They do a wonderful service aimed at young people, basically that have gotten in trouble with the law and need to be, it's like a halfway house, but for teenagers. It's basically,
Okay.
I think, where you simplified way of describing what Focus House is in Rochelle and how it serves the people of Ogle County, which is just to the south of us here. A lot of stuff to get to today, a lot of shout outs, but before we get to any of that stuff, let's go ahead and get our big number of the week. What do you say? Our big number of the week this week ain't that big of a number. It's April Fool's Day. What do you expect? 56.
56.
56 is our big number of the week this week, and the answer is trailers or trash.
It's my IQ.
I wasn't going to say anything, but now that you mention it,
You thought it was a little lower, right?
trailers or trash. Gosh,
Trailers for sailors.
smash and dent. Rockford Speedway. To the last trailer trails. This has nothing to do with the Rockford Speedway, by the way. Imagine they probably have already sold out the last ever trailer race at Rockford Speedway since this is their last season.
I think it might have been a mistake to bring my little Barney in here with me. He won't
Barney.
leave me alone.
Barney's like, I'm going to be the star of this show. Let me on the camera. Let me on your keyboard. All right. Our last race to 10 had Joann winning by a score of 10-4. Congratulations, Joann, and her second win in a row. And we'll see where this race to 10 goes. Race along with us. Put your guess in the comments. Trailers or trash, again, is the answer this week. Go ahead, do a search. I don't care. It's okay. Google search 56 and Google search trailers or trash, and maybe you'll find the answer. This week's is one that you might actually find the answer. I'm not sure how hard it will be, but it's possible.
I'm thinking it was 56 trailers were found upended in the Rockford area.
That's probably not far off from the actual truth. The winds, the mini tornadoes that hit us yesterday were intense enough to obviously cause some damage, lots of downed trees and limbs and damaged cars. Nothing worse, though, than nothing worse than what happened to the Apollo Theater last night in Belvedere.
Yeah, that was pretty sad.
It's pretty wild that obviously the Apollo Theater, an older structure. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what flipped over onto the street, because the photos show that the front awning just folded toward the building. Okay, that the front awning, the marquee, if you will, just fell off. Was ripped downward and folded toward the building. But there was a big, huge thing on the street, and I was like, was there another awning above the marquee, or was that another chunk of the? Because the roof collapsed. The roof that collapsed into the building went into the building and landed on the floor right in front of the stage, which is what caused 28 injuries, at least one death. Some of this injury is serious enough that we don't know yet if they're going to survive. The all call for emergency vehicles, there was at least 20 ambulances involved in rescuing people and getting them to various hospitals last night after the roof collapse. And for those who are just hearing this for the first time, there was a concert event at the Apollo Theater last night, and over 200 people, about 260 they estimate, were inside the facility when the storm hit. And when that large section of the roof collapsed down into the event area, it fell like right in front of the stage. So a lot of the people that weren't, somebody had posted on Facebook about 10 seconds before the roof collapsed, a guy came running in saying, "The storm is hitting, let's get to the basement." A bunch of people had already moved, so it probably saved a lot of people from getting injured.
Yeah.
But he said within about 10 seconds after this guy telling everybody, get to the basement, the storm is hitting, the roof collapsed. So more info on that as it becomes available. I was one of the places that is easy to monitor is mystateline.com, where they've got the headline right down there: 1 dead, 28 injured. Roof of Belvedere's Apollo Theater collapses in the storm. Belvedere Fire Chief Sean Shadell did a great job informing the media last night. He was really caring, compassionate, and concise in his delivering of the facts of what happened last night and how they called emergency services into action, Red Cross and others, to be there, and Salvation Army. They were staging ambulances, right as close to the theater as they could get. And event coordinator said approximately 260 people were in the venue at the time of the collapse. By 10:15, everyone was accounted for. So that's the latest on that from last night. Lots of streets closed around Rockford and Belvedere today because of downed large limbs from trees. They say at least 3 million people were impacted yesterday as the tornadoes tore through Arkansas, other parts of the South, and of course here in the Midwest. And there was
From what I understand, this was the largest day for tornadoes ever that we've ever had in the United States.
The line of storms was crazy impressive.
It was, yeah.
So it almost covered the entire country from top to bottom. It was that large.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people without power still in a lot of areas and such. So keep an eye on that. There are the wife and I actually were out of town most of the week this week. After the show last Saturday, I had a few things to take care of business wise before leaving, but then we boarded a plane and flew off to Texas. We spent most of the week in Austin visiting my daughter and her family in their new home. They were in Fort Worth for over 10 years. Gosh, what, 12 years, 13 years?
Huh.
And almost 13 years, 12 and a half years. And have moved now to Austin, Texas, which is beautiful. They're working at a church now called Hill Country Church, and there's an area of Austin they call Hill Country. Austin is a rolling hills, beautiful, beautiful town.
Well, Austin has grown kind of like Seattle did back in the 80s.
Yeah.
80s, 90s, I guess. Austin has almost 1 million people now.
The last 7 years, it was the number one. 5 of the last 7 years, it was the number one county that people moved to. And the 2 years that it wasn't number one, it was number 2 or number 3. So the last 7 years, incredible growth in Austin. So this was even before pandemic stuff. This is pre-pandemic that Austin was a major, major place to move to. And I can see why. We did go downtown for, Austin is famous for bats. All the bats migrate back. There's a Mexican, what do they call it? The free-tail Mexican bat migrates back up from the south into the southern states. And one of the places where they congregate is the Congressional Bridge in Austin, downtown Austin, where it was designed, I guess, to be a bat habitat haven. And during peak season, they estimate somewhere near 1.5 million bats.
Oh, that's creepy. Now, how do you design something to be a bat haven? I mean, you put like bat food out, send that signal, or what?
It's just the way
come here.
The bridge is designed with a lot of like a cave. It's like a bridge. There's all these places where the bats can sleep all day. They can fly up in there and hang up what they do, hang upside down and fall asleep.
Wow.
Learned a lot about bats that day, how they
probably more than you wanted to know.
Yeah, well, it was cool. It was kind of cool. Each female bat has one bat baby, one pup. And even though there's 1 million bats underneath this bridge, when they fly out to get food and they get insects and stuff, they come back and they can find their baby bat. They know it by the sound and the smell of their own individual baby, and they have apparently no problem finding their own little pup. And
yet, when my kids were little, I couldn't find them in Walmart.
Where'd they go?
Although their smell did give them away most of the time.
The bats, they're not at their full, they're not all migrated back yet. So they were talking about how some summer days, some hot, sticky summer days where there's lots of mosquitoes and such to go out and eat, it's almost like a black cloud comes out from under this bridge and people congregate all over to watch it happen. Right at dusk, all these bats start flying out to go feed. Well, the night we were there, it was a little bit drizzly and overcast, and it just wasn't prime bug catching weather, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But there was a huge number of bats that did fly out all at once in one section of the bridge, thousands of bats. So it wasn't like a cloud, but you could tell it was a huge bunch of bats flying out to.
Did it look like an Alfred Hitchcock movie?
A little. If we would have been on the other side of the bridge, it would have been a little bit more impactful. We were on the I guess, I don't know if I couldn't tell if I was on the south I think it was on the north side of the bridge. Kind of lose your direction when you go to a new town and you can't really see where the sun's going down because it's cloudy. I think we were on the north side of the bridge. The south side of the bridge is where most of the bats flew out the night we were there. But it was a pretty cool thing. A lot of friendly people in Austin, Texas. Really enjoyed our time there. Shout out to Hill Country Church and the stuff that they're doing. We also visited the Austin Zoo, which is nothing like the Fort Worth Zoo. Fort Worth Zoo is like mega professional, one of the top zoos of the country, if not the world. The Austin Zoo, however, is a rescue zoo.
Oh, okay.
So they've been rescuing animals, a lot of animals that were bought by, wealthier families thinking, oh yeah, it would be cool to have this exotic parrot or this monkey or whatever. And then they realize, wow, it's really hard to take care of an exotic pet.
Yeah.
And then they relinquish it to a place like the Austin Zoo, which is all rescue stuff. So we saw ostriches and zebras and lions and Bengals and monkeys and parrots and all kinds of cool animals, llamas and stuff. So really cool thing to check out and really cool to support their rescue efforts and stuff there. Other quick shout outs before we get to our guest here this morning. Shout out to my Sold on Tony team, obviously with my wife and I gone for a number of days. Cheryl and Shireen jumped in to help me out with my clients that needed to see houses while we were gone. So Cheryl, Shireen, kudos to you. Thank you so much for all of your help and our awesome team at Sold on Tony, Keller Williams Realty Signature. One quick shout out to Pam, as we all know Pam from the Rock River Valley Blood Center. Donated blood yesterday, and one of the reasons why I like going there is Pam.
I haven't seen Pam in a while. How's she doing?
She's a joy. She's wonderful. Yes.
I gotta go there. Go
say hi to Pam.
What's that?
Go say hi to Pam.
I will say hi to Pam. I have not been there for a while. I've just been so doggone busy, and I Faris, so it's a 2.5 hour block for me.
Right.
And so it's to get that spot during the week. It just doesn't
got to plan it. You got to plan it.
Well, truth be told, I probably could squeeze it in, but I've gotten a little lazy. I'm tired. I'm busy. I'm tired all the time. That's my problem, and that's no excuse.
It gives you a good reason to eat a healthy, meaty meal before going to donate blood.
There you go.
Red meat. I think that's most of my shout outs for this week, other than we probably, before the end of the show, we're going to try to do some baseball and football talk, although there's nothing completely. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been traded yet.
No, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
I think, what I heard from Gutekunst, is he the GM? He's the GM, right, of the Packers? Gutekunst?
No, Brian Gutekunst is yes, he is the GM.
He's the GM.
Mark Murphy is the president and CEO.
Okay.
Yes.
So the last I heard was he's perfectly fine waiting till May to get this done. He's in no rush.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought the draft was sooner than that, but
the draft is April 24th through the 6th.
So yeah, you can't wait that long. You need to know if you're getting draft picks for this year or not. By saying that, he must mean he's okay with taking next year draft picks. He doesn't need this year draft picks. I think.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
I'm okay with that.
Well, you're going to get a 1. You're going to get a 15. So you already have your first round draft pick. Yes,
that's what I mean. They already have a first round pick.
Another one, at the very least, another 2. Because here's the problem: you've got a guy like Jordan Love coming in. We don't know about Jordan Love. We don't know how good he's going to be. Aaron Rodgers says, "Oh, he's going to be good. I've seen him. He's going to be good." Other people say he's not. Why would Aaron Rodgers say he's going to be good? Because he wants to enhance his tradability. He wants to tell the Green Bay Packers, "Yeah, you're going to be in good hands. Just trade me. I'm good. Let's go." So it's like you should never be allowed to hire your successor, because what's going to happen is you're always going to hire someone else that is not as good as you. So your legacy lives on. For Aaron Rodgers to say,
is going to be good, really, really good.
Who? Jordan Love. Yeah.
Jordan Love is going to be so good.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think he's going to be good, but he's not going to be great. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer like Favre and Rodgers. Nonetheless, to hold a city, a team, the entire NFL, the Jets hostage, and the fan base, to hold them hostage like they've been doing, like he's been doing, ridiculous. And Green Bay can't just say, "We're done." Then they get nothing for
they got to get something. Yeah. They're not going to.
Absolutely.
Not just going to release him and anything else. So no, I think it gets done. I think it gets done here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully before the draft. And I'm perfectly fine if they get, a couple of, a second, a second rounder, third rounder. Honestly, just some sort of collateral. I don't really
absolutely care. Here's what I'd like: a second rounder for this year, and then a contingency second rounder for next year. In other words, if
That
Aaron
ma-
Rodgers
that makes sense.
plays next year, then we get another second rounder.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, hey, we had an awesome in crowd this week at Stone Eagle, courtesy of Pauline, our painter group in our group, and we had a great time. And we got to meet a new gal who we're going to bring on to the show right now. Her name is Sarah Downs. And Sarah, good morning to you. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning.
Sarah used to be the executive director of Byron Chamber of Commerce, right?
Correct. Yes.
And now you are doing marketing for a great heating and cooling service locally. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I loved being at the chamber. The chamber was a great job. I had a great board. I ran into Mike one night and he said he was looking for an office manager. He was looking for somebody to kind of come and do these things for him. And I was like, nah, not interested. Like, I have a great gig here. The more we talked, our selling point for me of what really got me to go over there was he said, you're going to love this. It's one of the most rewarding jobs you can do. People call you when they're in need and you're able to help them. I mean, like emergencies. We have no heat. We have no air. Things aren't working. And we have service techs that we can send out. We have a 24-hour call service. And he's like, the best part of this job is being able to help these people. And I've seen it already. I got a cute little note and some flowers. I didn't do anything. I just answered the phone and said something there, but like they appreciate it. And so that's always been my passion. And we kind of talked a little bit about that, when we were at our networking thing.
Is that not next to the truck there?
I know. I look at him in his Superman pose. He tried.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike. Don't listen.
He's the man. Hurst Heating and Cooling. You guys are out of Mount Morris?
Monroe Center, right off 39 and 72.
Okay.
So we cover a 25-mile radius. So we hit all the way up to South Beloit, all over the place. Like we have a pretty wide spread. And then we have 2 service techs that can go fix all the things.
Awesome. Well, you guys do something for the community as far as supporting a local business or a local not-for-profit. Do you know Focus House? Because I know they're a government-sponsored outfit. Are they?
So I actually, after we talked, I reached out to Jenny, the director over there, and I was like, "Hey, you got your spaghetti dinner. Do you want to jump on?" She was out of town this weekend, so she couldn't come with us. But she said, so I hate reading scripts. I feel like they're kind of generic, but she worded it so beautifully. I'm just going to read what she sent to us.
Okay.
The money raised goes directly to the youth that are receiving their services. She said that many times they come with little to no clothing, no school supplies. They use it for counseling tools, seasonal necessities, and also they pay for the youth who want to take classes at Kishwaukee College. All of the donations that they do from these fundraisers also can go to independent programs when the youth turns 18 for a secure, safe place to live. Donations are used to purchase gift cards for families who can't afford to go back and forth. And their program is strictly family focused. She's like, she could have gone on and on. Her passion for the Focus House is what makes me want to support the Focus House. And we supported as a chamber. We did things as a chamber. And then now they're doing their spaghetti dinner. So their 22nd annual spaghetti dinner is April 12th. And the dinner is a drive-through from 4 to 6 out of Rochelle. There's tons of information on their Facebook page. Oh, yeah, you got it right there. You're 2 steps ahead. It's a wonderful program. And I've seen kids who have gone through it. It's that stepping stone. So you get in trouble as a youth, you get some community service hours, you get in trouble as a youth, now you go to juvie, you get in trouble as a youth, and you become this criminal for your life. So the Focus House is a way to give them good mentors. I know I have a friend who's an attorney in Rochelle and he's heavily involved in it. And like he'll go mentor the kids and take them out fishing. These kids that live in the city that would never have a nice man to come help you, to go do fatherly things with you. Like there's mentors that come in. I couldn't even tell you all of it, but it's something that I absolutely loved and love the idea of it, where let's get these kids and put them in the right direction before they're 18 and locked up all the rest of their life, kind of thing.
Right. When I spent 6 years working at the WRHL in Rochelle, and the community foundation there in Rochelle always had Focus House as part of what they supported every year, which was really cool to see how the community got behind the services that they provided and the help that they gave to these teenagers that for the most part just needed, like you said, they just needed some direction. They just needed some a good mostly a lot of times just a good fatherly figure in their life to say, hey, here's right and wrong, and here's what you can do with your life. Let's find out what kind of skills and interests you have, and point you in a direction that is going to lead to a healthy, productive life. And they do a lot of great things there too. So it doesn't hurt that it's right next door to a church too that can help them out spiritually, so which is pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, that church. Have you been to that church?
I have visited that church a couple times. Yes.
Yeah, and they have that cool gym area. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but they have that cool gym area and stuff. So there's like lots of things for kids. A little cafe. It was definitely kid friendly. I think we brought the kids there a few years ago, and I know I've always been the mom that you overly love your kids, but when they need a thump on the head, you give them a thump on the head. You know.
That's right.
One of the other things Focus House is doing new this year is they are doing a golf play day August 1st. So save the date, August 1st, 2023. That's at Fairview Golf in Rochelle. And I'm sure that'll be an all-day awesome event. If they're doing it at Fairview, they're probably not just doing golf. They're probably doing a dinner and a silent auction and all that stuff that you do at a really cool, fun golf day event. So if you're available August 1st, you might want to take advantage of that. You enjoyed yourself at In Crowd Thursday night. Besides me, did you meet anybody else that was nice and interesting?
I did. Now I have my business card. So I was going to go into the office to do this so that I didn't have like dogs and people walking in and out. And we had a disaster yesterday.
Oh.
I'm sitting in the office and lightning struck the building. Like I've never heard such a crazy loud and flash that happened all at once. It was insane. So we were there last night trying to figure that all out, and I think we got it figured out. It blew the main breaker switch.
Oh boy.
So yeah, so we have an electrician that was out there trying to get everything figured out. So I had all my notes and my business cards and everything prepared at my desk, but I didn't go in because there's no power.
Right. And Joann just messaged me too. They don't have any Wi-Fi at the PAWS Humane Society in Cherry Valley this morning. So I'm asking her to see if she can't try to get on with her phone. But you were handing out these things at In Crowd on Thursday night. And next month, In Crowd is going to be at, I'll just go ahead and say it now. We're at Duraclean in Belvedere. So if you can join us at Duraclean the last Thursday of the month, next one will be in Belvedere at Duraclean. They always do a great job out there hosting everybody. So if you can, mark your calendar for that and come out to that.
All right, I'm going to do a little sales pitch for your In Crowd. So I know John Berlin. I've known him for years, and he's always asked me to do this, but it's always fallen on different things that I couldn't make it, or, kid things, whatever. And again, being from the chamber and doing these networking things, I've been to a million of these networking things. I went there and I was so impressed. And let me tell you why. Where normally you go to a networking thing, especially being the new kid, where you're like, ooh, I don't even know where to start, And you guys all sucked me in. Oh, hey, come here. I haven't met you yet. Oh, hey, come here. I haven't met you yet. It was a very easy flowing networking event. And I really appreciated it. And I really appreciated how welcoming everybody was, where I knew John. That was the only person that I knew. And I feel like I made like 10 friends that night. It was wonderful.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal at every In Crowd, is to give everybody a chance to meet somebody new. And, I'm not a mix and mingle kind of a guy. Normally, when I get to, even at In Crowd, I normally want to find maybe 2 or 3 people and just kind of, okay, I haven't talked to you in a while. Let me reconnect with you and find out what's going on in your world. And if I'm able to stay later, then I'll have a chance to meet, 4 or 5 or 6 other people as things are breaking up. But I've relieved myself of the goal, because it used to be, oh, I'm going networking. I got to meet as many people as possible. I don't do that anymore. I haven't done that now for the last few years. It's more of, hey, you know what? The goal is to reconnect with someone I haven't talked with for a while, or meet someone new, like I did with you. So I'm glad we got a chance to sit together and chat about your background and touch base on that. So with your background in the Byron Chamber, is there anything else you want to talk about, Byron wise, or just give them any kind of shout outs too?
Yeah. So, with the Hurst group, we're part of the Rochelle Chamber and the Byron Chamber. So I'm still very active in both communities. And again, that's been a passion. My dad was a pastor. My mom was a preschool teacher in Byron. So I was drilled into my brain that you just volunteer your life away. Didn't know any different. So we're still very active. I'm still very close with the director over there. I still do a lot with them. There's questions that come up. I was there for 12 years. So, we're still very, very close. They still rely on me. I'm still heavily involved as Hurst with them. So yeah, they're doing a lot of things. Both of them had their annual dinners coming up. So I think Byron's is in April, Rochelle's is in March or May. So they both have their annual dinners coming. So if anyone is listening, I know we have a lot of businesses that kind of follow this group. If you can throw a little basket together and toss it to these guys, that'd be really great. It's a great way to promote your business, and it's a great way to support these nonprofits. So, their annual dinner is one of their biggest fundraisers. So,
and you don't have to be crazy fancy with it either. You can put in a gift card for something, a bottle of wine or something, and a couple of useful trinkets and such. It doesn't have to be crazy fancy or big.
I don't know if I should tell my secrets, but I will. I'll share. Here's a little tip.
A little secret.
Just between us three.
I went on Amazon and I bought these cute little baskets with cellophane. And then I went to Binny's and I found a good red blend wine and bought it by the case. So it was like a $15 bottle of wine that you bought it by the case. It was discounted, for $3 a bottle. And then you go to the Dollar Tree and buy 2 cute little wine glasses that are these nice wine glasses. And it's like, boom, it looks like you have $1 million basket for $5.
Yeah.
So
that's a great tip. And and there's nothing wrong with that at all, because you go to these events and it's a fundraiser. Sometimes you got to remind people you're supposed to release some funds at the fundraiser. Let them grow. Let them do their services by, bidding on that signed jersey that you may or may not even want, but you're going to make that bid go up, because the next guy who really wants it's going to say, well, shoot, I was only going to pay at $150, but I'm going to go to $200 because I want that signed jersey.
It'd be like me and Tom beefing over a Packers jersey where I really don't want it, but I just know Tom's going to spend more money than me.
That's right.
That's right. I'm an owner of a Chris Bryant jersey. Now I'm a Cubs fan second, but I'm a Brewers fan first. I'm not ashamed to say.
We're 1-0. You're 0-1. That's all
I know.
Are you? So you're a Cubs fan, Tom?
I'm a Cub fan. I'm a Packer fan.
All right, let's eat them alive. Let's go 1-0.
You guys are the best. Our star pitcher is still a little bit upset about his contract, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Question. The golf outing, August 1st. What day is that?
I didn't even look. I didn't check the calendar. It's August 1st, though.
Well, I'm wondering a couple questions. One, how much does it cost? Two, is it open to, like, if Greg and I want to golf? Right? It is?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm sure it is.
Okay.
I don't know much about it. It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Okay. All right.
And it's a save the date right now. They don't obviously there's some details that are getting it nailed down yet for an August golf date, but they've got it reserved. It's at Fairview. It's in Rochelle, which is a beautiful, mostly flat course. There's not a whole lot of hills and traps other than trees and some sand traps. And
there is some like crazy curves where you like.
There's some curves.
Like you kind of have to do a jump, but
it's
easy enough to find out. I'm not a big golfer, and I could figure it out. So
it's a nice course. It's a beautiful course. So
Greg and I have been golfing the last couple of years at the PAWS event, and so Greg, I'm in if you're in.
Hopefully we can get in. Hopefully we can be in. That'd be awesome.
I'm more of the I'm going to sponsor the hole and make you spin a wheel and have fun at my spot with me than I am the golfer.
Come on, big money.
Give stuff away.
Yeah, I think the Byron Chamber one's like in August as well. Rochelle's is got one too. Their chambers both have one. So Rochelle's is doing like this 80s theme.
Oh.
And I don't know why, like my Cyndi Lauper wants to come out, and I'm like, I got to get the neon.
That's right. Put all the hair off to one side. And
like just get it going. Woo,
Bring it on. Awesome. Neon everywhere. Well, we'll fill people in on that as we get closer to those dates. But I really appreciate you jumping on with us here this morning. And again, the spaghetti dinner to support Focus House is Wednesday, April 12th. They do pre-sale delivery only in the lunch time, 11 to 1:30. And then 4 to 6:30 is, I think they just like a drive-through. Yeah, come and enjoy a drive-through spaghetti supper. Support Focus House. Your spaghetti, your homemade sauce, Italian bread, salad, dessert, all is part of that. Oh, and by the way, dessert consists of pies. And if you can donate a pie to Focus House, they're asking you to drop by during business hours at Focus House to drop off fruit pies or cream pies. And they'll keep them there until spaghetti dinner day.
One more thing on that. They did announce yesterday that they will be delivering to Byron, Stillman, and Rochelle. So if you're in those areas and you have a business that wants to pre-order, they will deliver to Byron, Stillman, and Rochelle. So they must have volunteers that are willing to do that. So
get lunch for your staff. They're all getting spaghetti on April 12th. So
that's what's happening at the shop, guarantee.
Awesome.
Check it out. Don't wear a white shirt that day. Wear a red shirt.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on, Sarah, and I look forward to connecting with you down the line and more in-crowd events. All right.
Yeah, I'll be sure to be at the next one in Belvedere. I have a service tech that's in Belvedere, so I'm going to try to get him to come with me too. And we'll bring some more of those coupons. They're great coupons. So if you need any services, I will say, I just got to do this plug for Hurst, is they are such a great company and they are so honest and they are so good that I have been able to put my whole heart into it, where I'm able to go out and network and passionately be able to say that this is a good, honest company. And coming from nonprofits to working for a profit, I'm like, we got to rock this out. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And I've been able to honestly say that they are just, they're great. All the guys, the shop, everyone. So
good deal. Hurst Heating and Cooling.
Call Hurst first.
There's your number right there. 815-757-4383.
Thanks, Greg.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Awesome. Great to meet some new folks and grow the show, and like and subscribe and share the link to today's show to your friends. It looks like Joann is not going to be able to log in with us today, Tom.
Well, then we talk Packer football all day.
She did send me her answer for the big number of the week. So
did you get mine? I sent you mine. You
sent me yours, and okay, so we're good to go. We're good to go there. All right, so we already talked a little bit of Packer stuff, and do you have much to say baseball wise? My wife and I are supposed to go to the game today. I want to make sure that it's actually still going to happen. I think it is. They didn't play yesterday, which is kind of an odd thing. I'm sure they probably did that on purpose, just in case there was a weather opening day problem that they had to bump it back a day or something.
They do that in the non-domed stadiums. Like if they were playing in Milwaukee, they wouldn't have done that, because unless it's a tornado or lightning storm or whatever, they're not going to cancel it. So that's why they do it. That's tradition. I think it's dumb, because what happens a lot of times is you have the second day off, but the third day gets rained out.
I know.
It's like, well, we should have just played yesterday. So
yeah,
just go ahead and play them, and then have a built-in day after the series. Call it a travel day, and then that can be your day.
Well, they don't want to miss their weekend revenues, because their weekend, ticket sales are the biggest drivers of most of their games. I guess when it comes to baseball, 162 games just seems like overkill to me. It's probably time to back that down a little bit. I know that now that there is no real big difference between the American and National League, because they all have designated hitters and stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
And their goal is to play every team. Is it every team every season, or every team every 2 seasons?
Nope, every team every season now, from what I understand. But well, I don't know for sure. I don't. I know what they've done though is they're integrating even more. Last couple of years, you would go without playing the Yankees, or you would go without playing such and such. Kind of like football, where you'll go to the opposite. In the American League, you'll go like to the Eastern Division and play all 4 teams there. But honestly, I don't have an answer for you. I don't know if they're playing
No.
every team now, but I think they are. I think they're really, really
Yeah.
trying to integrate, which I liked better when it was American League versus National League. You had to do some coaching if you're a manager. Now you're an American League manager. When you're playing a National League team, you have to figure out your pitcher.
Well,
he has to hit.
here's one of the things I hope is going to be a trend, and that is the trend of Shohei Ohtani. More players pitching, fielding, batting, who are doing all the things, and working them into the lineup in such a way that they. How cool would it be if you got a guy who's out there playing, left field, and you can bring him in to be a relief pitcher to one or two guys that you want him to face, and then put him back out into the field of play somewhere.
Shohei Ohtani is a 1 in a million player. This guy he's a freak of nature.
He's
There
amazing.
are not many players that can do what he does.
No, not to his level. I understand that, but I just as a utility player, there's always been players that could do everything, but they just don't let him do everything, and I hope that changes.
Yeah, I understand. It's almost like in football, you had Deion Sanders, or you had a Cordell Stewart who could play. They called him. I forget what they called him. Anyway, Slash, I think, or Slash back. Slash, I think they called him. Anyway, he could be a wide receiver. He could be a running back. He could be a quarterback. He could run back kicks if he needed to. And then of course Deion Sanders played both sides of the ball. He was good at it. Then he went to baseball and became a standout. Bo Jackson, same thing. But Shohei Ohtani, if you're to be able to pitch with that accuracy and that speed and be that good and yet hit 30 homers a year and feel like nobody's business.
Oh, he's
there
amazing.
just aren't many. Now I understand what you're saying, not to that level, but it's still difficult to get anybody to be able to do both well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, Cubs Brewers, it's kind of cool that they are opening the season with the rivalry in conference rivalry for the weekend. And it does kind of seem silly that they didn't open the season in the dome with cold weather and such.
Yeah. I mean, the first game was March 31st. When I think of March 31st, I think of, it's still cold.
And it
buddy of mine, in fact, I learned this last night. My friend's, I went to a funeral last night. My friend's mom passed away. She was 81. And he's got two other brothers. His oldest brother went to opening day Wrigley Field in honor of his mom. She was a big Cub fan. He said he froze, but it was it was fun. But he froze. And I'm sorry. I don't want to say I don't like baseball enough to be able to freeze in Wrigley in March.
It's different now too with the pitch clock, and it's not going to be 3.5 hours. It's going to be a 2.5 hour game.
Yeah, and I think that's ridiculous. Whatever.
Well, I'll report back next week because I'm going to the game today. At least if it's played, depending on the weather. Part of me is really excited about the fact that it is going to be a quick paced thing, and you don't have to wait around for. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm leaning toward liking it more than disliking.
Everybody argued about against the shot clock, the 24-second clock in the NBA or in college or in high school or whatever.
Yeah.
And you couldn't just do the four corners and you're up by 10 with 4 minutes left. You're just going to hold the ball for, force the defense to do something. I get that. I understand that. Keep the game moving. I like the shot clock in basketball. But in baseball, what they're doing, first and foremost, Rob Manfred may be the worst baseball commissioner we've ever had because I don't think he loves baseball. I don't think he's a real baseball fan. That's part of the problem with Rob Manfred. He doesn't understand the game, and he certainly doesn't understand the history and the nuance of baseball itself.
Yeah.
I don't mind changing things up, but what he's done in the last 5 years is unbelievable. It's almost not even the same game. And some of the changes are dumb. Even the designated hitter rule, fine. I'll give you that. The shot clock, the AI umpires now, they're working on it in
that'll be interesting.
The minor leagues. Don't like it.
That'll be interesting. I will make this prediction. This is what I predict is, and I've like I said, haven't seen a game yet. I might be completely off here, but what I think is going to happen, I think they will ditch the pitch clock once runners are on base, because that's this whole thing now with a runner on base where they can only throw over to first 2 times.
Yeah.
That sets you. What did they have? 21 of 23 attempted stolen bases were successful on opening day, or something like that.
Yeah, because now he's thrown over twice.
He's can't throw
take
again.
an extra lead, and as soon as he goes into he can't throw to first, or else it's a balk or a ball or whatever. Now he automatically gets second.
But can he throw to second base if the runner does go? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. The called balls and the called strikes because of the pitch clock and stuff are.
My guess is that he wouldn't be able to throw to second because he has to have started his motion.
Got to throw home.
Once he started his motion, he has to throw home.
All
But
right,
that's a good point. That's a good question.
That's a rule I'm curious to see. So what I think is going to change, and maybe even mid-season, because they have said they are open to changing some of these rules during the season this season because they are so different. They are so new. So
just get rid of Rob Manfred. Bring back Bud Selig. No, I'm kidding. He was bad, dude.
He's retired. He's done.
Yeah.
Let's get to some stuff here. It's what is it? 45. Since we're not going to have Joann on, let's get to our random stuff for the week here before we get too far. SMS info for the week this week brought to you by our friends unofficially at Altruize, the app that enables volunteers to track and verify and maintain their own community service data for a lifetime. Check out Altruize app. Tell a better story. Live a better life. We talked about Focus House already, talked about the dangerous tornadoes. Lots of stuff going on this weekend. The 18th annual Home and Garden Showcase at the Forest Hills Lodge, obviously with the Forest Hills, with the Speedway being sold. I believe Forest Hills Lodge is all part of that sale. So this might be the last Home and Garden Showcase at Forest Hills Lodge. They'll be moving to probably a different location next year. Over 100 companies offering homeowners and apartment dwellers the convenience of comparative shopping for an array of products and services all in one place. Free admission, 10 to 5 today and tomorrow at Forest Hills Lodge on West Lane Road, Highway 173, Inlos Park, right next door to the Rockford Speedway. Master Gardeners, Planters Row, all kinds of fun stuff at the Home and Garden Showcase. Discovery Center Museum has their Discovery Town exhibit open through the end of May right now. A road trip that's an easy drive in a pint-sized city. Take the family to Discovery Town, a temporary exhibit at Discovery Center Museum. Children play as they learn about the people and places that make up a community, and sponsored by some local businesses, including the awesome JL Clark business here in Rockford. Discovery Center Museum on North Main Street. $11 for the public, free to museum members. All children ages 1 and younger get in for free. Otherwise, it's an $11 entrance fee there. The exhibit called Of This Place, Native Nations in the Rockford Region is at Burpee Museum of Natural History. Burpee Museum's newest contemporary exhibition is Native American people from Sac and Fox, Potawatomi, and Ojibwe nations. I probably said that one wrong.
Ojibwa, I think.
Yeah, Ojibwe. Ojibwe, that sounds better.
Yeah, Ojibwa. Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff to check out at the Burpee Museum of Natural History. And then we've got some friends acting this weekend at Rockford University Clark Arts Theater, the Cheek Theater there at Rockford University. The play is called Jumping to Delusions, a mental health primer for the 21st century. Follow Alice's quest down the rabbit hole into a fascinating, if bewildering, new world. Sketch comedy, vaudeville, fasten your seatbelts. It's sure to be a turbulence ahead of Jumping to Delusions, Artist Ensemble Theater at Rockford University. There's a show today at 4 and tonight at 7:30. Matinee tomorrow at 2. April is the month we're in now. It's April Fool's Day. I don't like April Fool's jokes. I've never been a fan of April Fool's jokes.
I'm not either. I don't either, you know?
No thanks. Don't make me look a fool. That's not fun. If you poke fun at yourself, that's different. but
Mhm.
not making a fool of other people. April, named after the idea to open, Latin word for to open, a lovely springtime metaphor. Speaking of going to the game, if you're taking a family of 4 to the baseball park, what's it going to cost you? According to Axios, tickets, parking, souvenirs, drinks, and hot dogs for 4 people is an average of.
800.
They looked at all the ballparks. Their average for all the ballparks, $256
For
for
4
a-
people.
which I guess isn't terrible, but it ain't cheap either.
Oh, okay. So I guess I'm thinking 4 people to go to a Cub game, you're going to spend minimum 40 to 60 on tickets. Split the difference, call it 50. So there's 200 right there.
There's 200 right there.
40 for parking, that's 240. You're going to get okay. All right. That makes sense
Souvenirs,
because I
drinks.
rarely buy souvenirs, but I'm always going to buy a hot dog, maybe a water or something like that. So I would say 300 for a Cub game is a pretty close. Okay, 800 was a little bit steep.
Right,
But
right.
if you
And
really
then-
want to enjoy the experience and get really, really good tickets, you could spend 800. But 300, 250 to 300, yeah, I agree with that.
I want to know where the best deal is in a Major League Baseball. Where's the best deal?
White Sox.
Think so?
Well, I know this much. We have a mutual friend, John. He goes to a lot of games, especially with his work. And Comiskey, White Sox, guaranteed rate. They're always doing some sort of a Sunday deal where the game is $5, hot dogs are $1 or something like that. They're always doing something like that. But on the whole, you're talking about a team in a city where you feel like the redheaded stepchild. The Mets, the Angels, they feel like the redheaded stepchild. And so they have to do more than Cubs, people are going to go just to sit in Wrigley.
Right.
Just to sit
Right.
in Wrigley and probably not even pay attention to the game.
Experience the ambiance that is the friendly conference.
Whereas I think White Sox fans are much more into their team, and but still they're not going out. Plus they're on the south side of Chicago, 35th and Shields. It's not the best area,
No.
Whereas
No.
Clark and Addison, well, it's a pretty good area. Wrigleyville,
Well, family of 4. If you're taking a family of 4 to a game at Wrigley, you're probably spending $300 to $400 for the day if you're doing it up.
Yeah.
Virgin Orbit is Richard Branson's satellite company. This is not his space company. This is his satellite company, but they have failed to secure a deal to save itself. So Virgin Orbit is going to cease operations.
Oh.
Virgin Galactic is the space company that's want to take space tourists up into space. That one is still going, but he apparently bit off more than he could chew, and Virgin Orbit is going under. Speaking of going under, Lolita, the orca whale that's been in a Miami aquarium for the last 50 years, is being released back out into the wild.
Huh. Wow.
Is that a smart move? I don't know. After 50 years living in captivity, is it a good idea to let the orca back out into the ocean? I don't know.
I would wonder. First, my first question is, why are they doing it?
Good question. Maybe the aquarium is going under. Maybe they don't have the money to support it.
I suppose there could be a lot of different reasons. Maybe she's got cancer or something like that, and they want to let her die in her natural habitat.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe
I would
thought
hope.
of that.
I would hope not. That's kind of morbid, but it's just a thought. Because 50 years in captivity, how old do you think she is?
Probably at least 55. I don't know. Let's see. After 5 decades being captured and held in Miami Seaquarium, the orca will finally be able to return to the Pacific, live out the rest of her days. At the news conference, they plan to move the nearly 5,000-pound killer whale to original home in the waters of the Pacific Northwest. Holy cow. So from Miami to the Pacific Northwest.
That's crazy.
That sounds very expensive. The Florida
Why
nonprofit-
not into the Atlantic?
The news conference was held in part by Miami Seaquarium, the Florida nonprofit called Friends of Lolita, and a philanthropist and owner of NFL's Indianapolis Colts, Jim Irsay.
Yeah.
He's got money
Jim
in this
Irsay,
deal,
yeah.
probably, apparently. I don't know. They haven't released a specific budget tied to her relocation. She was captured from the Pacific coast near Seattle nearly 50 years ago at the age of 4. They believe the orca now is to be right around 57 years old, and currently the oldest orca being held in captivity. Okay, that looks very interesting. Anyway, and then finally this week that I thought was interesting, Nokia is planning a 4G network that will operate on the moon. Thanks, Nokia. For people that are going to live on the moon, or is that going to be something that beams from the moon to the Earth? I don't understand the details on that, but anyway.
Well, they're going to put a cell tower up there.
for the future people that live on the moon, you'll have 4G service when you get there. Congratulations. All right. Obviously, we don't have PAWS today, but if you want to support PAWS, go to pawshs.org, www.pawshs.org. We will have a PAWS Pet of the Week that we'll post to our Facebook page later this morning. And his name is Shaggy, 4-year-old terrier mix. Looks like my friend's dog Tuffy back in the day. Needs a fenced-in yard, loves dogs, does not like cats. So if you have a dog that needs a companion,
Bad dog.
go get the Shaggy. Shaggy wants to be in your yard. Yeah. Shaggy. All right. Let's do it. Let's wrap things up here with our big number of the week, right? Is that what we got left?
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. I could sit and talk Packer football some more, but that's okay.
We've already kind of exasperated our Aaron Rodgers talk. The one thing I guess left to talk about this week when it comes to the Packers is Jordan Love, Aaron Jones, Christian Watson. They all got together. I think it's somewhere in California to work on their timing. Totally not sponsored by the team at all. They just did it themselves. So the guys are committed to Jordan Love.
Oh, no question about it. You have to give him a chance. You've had him on the roster for 3 years. This will be his 4th year. It was Aaron Rodgers' 4th year when he became a starter. So if Jordan Love is going to be good, we'll know in the first year.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers went 6-10 his first year. Didn't look that good. He threw 11 interceptions that year. So that was his most.
Right.
And he just threw 10 last year. He either threw 10 the first year and 11 this year, or the other way around. One of the two. Nonetheless, you knew you had something there. You just didn't know exactly what you had. I really think Jordan Love's going to be pretty good. I think the Packers are going to challenge for the division with Detroit. Minnesota's going to fall off. Chicago's going to be better, but they won't be as good as they'd hope. You know, they're probably going to go 6-11. I think Minnesota's probably going to go 10-7, and I think Green Bay and Detroit are going to fight it out with 11-6, maybe even 12-5. I do. I really do, because Green Bay still has all the components that they've had the last few years. The biggest problem with Green Bay last year, Aaron Rodgers doesn't break that thumb.
It's a great season if he doesn't break his thumb.
That 5-game losing streak. Let's just say you win 3 of those. Well, that's an 11-6 season right there. And then maybe there's another game here or a game there. They also lost the Giants game when they were ahead 20-10 at the half and really taking control of that game when they were 3-1. They would have went 4-1. That losing streak was all part of that. That doesn't happen.
Right.
And then he comes back and he wins 4 or 5 more. I'm pretty sure they win 12 games last year without Aaron Rodgers' broken thumb.
I think
And then none of this is
I was leaning toward Detroit dominating the conference this season, but they let Jamal Williams go, who's like a emotional, spiritual leader of the team. They shouldn't have let him go. So now I think you're right.
On their part. I really believe dumb move on their part, because you said it yourself. He's a good football player. He's a very good football player, but an emotional leader on the team, and you need that. Here's why Detroit will not win the division. Here's why Detroit will never win a Super Bowl.
Because they're Detroit.
Because they're Detroit. Dan Campbell, I think, is a great football coach. He's a good football mind. He knows what he's doing. He's a great motivator. Players love him, which sometimes can be a red flag. Problem with Dan Campbell is he literally gave away 3 games last year.
Time in.
I watch a lot of football. I do. And I watched a lot of Detroit, not necessarily the games, we don't get them, but I've seen all the highlights. And I've seen, if you can't coach in the last 2 minutes of the half or the game, you're a fish out of water. You're done. You are done. Dan Campbell is not very good at end of game coaching.
Yeah.
He's just not that good at it. Time management skills.
Too emotional.
No. Using timeouts. No. You're right. He might be too emotional. Any of those things that you really need, where you have to be calm and you have to calm your players and this and that. There was one example. They had a 3rd and 1, and Jared Goff throws about a 35-yarder down the sideline, and the ball goes out of, it's kind of tipped out of bounds or whatever. Now it's 4th and 1. Now you kick the 54-yard field goal. Yes, you made the field goal. Send it into overtime. But you didn't send it into overtime. You were going to send it into overtime. They left 45 seconds on the clock. Buffalo, I think it was Buffalo, then came back, kicked the field goal to win it with 10 seconds or 5 seconds left. That is why Dan Campbell will not win the division next year, because he's going to get out coached. Matt LaFleur is a really good coach. And by the way, one other thing here, I know I keep saying that. Matt LaFleur is a little better coach than we give him credit for.
I think so too.
Aaron Rodgers and all that. He's had to deal with that petulant little 12-year-old for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I really believe Matt LaFleur is going, whoo.
I'm going to have a quarterback that shows up to meetings when he says he's going to show up to meetings. This is going to be great.
I got a quarterback I can actually teach and tell, this is what I want done. Matt LaFleur is going to rise to the top as an elite coach, I think, next year.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the season. I want to give a shout out to James this morning.
Yeah, I like what James said.
I think baseball is trying to become football-like. Football, limited time, designated field size. Baseball, traditionally unlimited time, different sized parks. Trying to speed up the game will change the baseball. And it has, absolutely. James, absolutely correct.
I don't understand the whole speed up the game thing. What's the problem with a 3.5-hour game? Football games are 3.5 hours. If you think about it, because they have a noon start. You know why they went to the 3:25 start? They stagger them, 3:15, 3:20, 3:25, because in case games go over, typically a game is going to go 3:15, typically. So the 3:25 start, no problem. The 3:15 start, boom. Well, let's head over to so-and-so in Cleveland for the start of the game, and then you hit the opening kickoff right away. I have no problem with the game being a little longer. Now, with baseball, there's some strategy involved. You don't go to the park to hurry. Absolutely.
Thanks, James. Yeah.
Yes, you're exactly right, James. And let me give you one example about trivia. When I do trivia, I'm usually 1.5 to 1.45 hours, and sometimes 2 hours. Guess what? The bars like when I'm there for 2 hours.
They sell more drinks.
That third and fourth drink is going to make the bar an extra.
And that's why I think they get rid of the pitch clock after runners are on base. That's where I think this is going to head.
Well, I hope so. I don't like the pitch clock anyway.
The pitch clock. I like it. I like it. I like it when there's nobody on base. I want the pitcher to come on, stop daddling around, get in the box. Let's play. It was too slow, and now I think they went too fast. I think there's a happy medium.
They overcompensated. Well, it's the same thing with basketball. Believe it or not, they have a 10-second rule for free throws. Giannis got caught on it the other day. He's just sitting there like this. He bounces the ball.
Yeah,
he's doing his little motions, and then they called him for it.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think that's fair. You got to keep moving. I know you want to catch your breath. Well, get out of the game then. you're on the court. Let's go.
Yeah, it's 10 seconds after you get the ball. So if you want to catch your breath, I guess you can do that. You can hold on. I just got to breathe. Okay, now I get the ball. Now it's 10 seconds.
You got 10 seconds.
Okay, maybe that's not so bad, but they don't want people using it to their advantage. Like give your left fielder a breather because he just ran for a ball, or something like that. So.
All right, let's do this big number of the week one last time. Our big number of the week this week is 56, and the answer is trailers or trash? Throw your guess in the comments. We're going to tell you the answer here in a minute. Trailer or trash?
I think I went trash, didn't I?
You
Yeah, I
went
did.
trash. Joann has texted me. She has also gone trash. So either you're going to start 1-1 or 0-0 with our big number of the week this week. And movies released in 2022.
Mostly trash.
Mostly trash, but that's the trailer's answer. 449 movies were released last year. 10 years ago, 650 movies were released. So about 200 less than 10 years ago. 449 movies, so 449 movie trailers were released last year. Walt Disney World in Florida generates about 56 tons of trash every single day. And that starts our next race to 10 with a score of 1-1. Congratulations, Tom. Congratulations, Joann. You got yourself.
I'm tied for first.
You got yourself a point. Awesome. All right. That's going to do it, folks. April Fools, no fools on the show today. We kept it foolproof.
Well, speak for yourself. I've been called a fool many times.
Hopefully the weather's nice, and I'll be able to tell you about how everything went at Wrigley Field for the Cubs game on next week's show. Next week, by the way, we are chatting with, why didn't I put this down? Kayleen Grosh. Kayleen Groh is with Rockford Promise. Rockford Promise does some really cool things here for students in the Rockford area. We're going to learn about that with Kayleen next week, right here on the show. All right.
All right.
Awesome. Well, remember, friends, you change the world when you help one person, so be a blessing to someone this week. We'll do the same. Meet you back here for another edition of the Saturday Morning Stateline Show. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.